Hey guys, John CES Motorsport here. Welcome back to our channel once again. And today we have another kind of follow-up build that we wanted to discuss with everybody. As a lot of you guys know, we had just released a video with the 6MT Supra that had a full DO88 package on it. This one is an 8HP Trans Supra that has a DO88 package on it. Both of them were Pure 800 upgraded Supras. This one obviously has a couple different bolt-ons than the complete DO88 package from the 6MT Supra that we had just wrapped up. So we wanted to go over a few of those differences with you, share with you some data numbers and results just like we typically like to do, and so you guys can see the differences between what a 6MT car does versus an Autotrans car and some of the similar mods. So a couple of the differences that we wanted to highlight versus the two builds that we're kind of comparing notes on. This particular car came in with a few mods already, the main one being the CTS turbo charge pipe. And also this one has an MST intake on it. As you guys recall, the 6MT car had the full DO88 bolt-on package, so it did have the DO88 intake plus the DO88 charge pipe. So those are the couple differences there. Also, this one is catted as well, but this one's the MST big boy cat version that they offer versus the active Gessie catted downpipe. So very, very similar builds. Again, both of these Pure 800 turbo builds as well. So really gonna compare some nice notes between these two packages so you guys can see. This one does have the DO88 Mera intercooler, which features the upgraded Garrett core, and also the four-piece DO88 full cooling package. This one did have the CSF one on it. The customer opted to upgrade from the CSF to the full DO88, so we will have a nice comparison with DO88 cooling and intercooler upgrades on this car. The last thing I did want to say, this one does not have an upgraded exhaust system like the 6MT car did. It has just the factory exhaust system on it. We're back, just finished doing all our dyno runs to finish off the tuning on this car. This one again was an MHD tuned vehicle, tuned with CD 919. For those of you familiar with some of the tuners that we've worked with, CD is a local guy up in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've been really spending a lot more time tuning with him lately, so thanks again Chris for working with us to get this one dialed in. Obviously the MHD tuning platform has been one of our go-tos for the Supras, especially now that MHD Plus has been released. So this one is a femto unlocked, I believe 21 6-port that does have the MHD Plus tuning suite on it as well. This was flex tuned on 93 up to about E30 blend, which is typically about the maximum amount of ethanol you want to run on the stock fuel systems on these cars before needing extra upgrade. This customer opted for a nice daily driven package on 93 flex and up to E30 flex. So that's what we're going to go over right now, guys. All right, so first up, 93 octane tuning. We went ahead and wrapped up and finalized the tuning on 93 first, and this was actually the final result for the 93 flex tuning on MHD Plus with CD 919. We were able to get about almost 525 wheel horsepower out of the car and about 522 wheel torque. Typically, when we see the 93 octane numbers, we're usually in about the 500 wheel horsepower range, especially with catted downpipes that do tend to take a little bit of the power away from the overall numbers that we make. Temperatures are still helping. We're about 69 degrees ambient when we're doing these pulls, so that obviously does play a role in giving us a little bit extra horsepower to the wheels, but the overall highlight is the same. Having a DO88 intercooler upgrade with the Mera Garrett core, the DO88 cooling package, plus the bolt-ons that the car has is netting us, you know, a little bit over 524, 525 wheel horsepower which is really great for 93 octane tuning only. A lot of guys were very impressed with the 550 wheel horsepower numbers that we did see on the 6MT car, and this one is just behind it. Obviously there's a little bit of a difference in transfer to power at the wheels between a 6MT car and a 8HP Autotrans car, and I think we're seeing that difference a little bit here, especially with the similar mods that are installed on both of these vehicles. Keep in mind, you know, there is an MST intake and a CTS charge pipe and an MST catted downpipe versus the 6MT car that had all DO88 plus an active Gessie catted downpipe installed on that version of the build that we did for him. So a couple minor differences, but overall still very outstanding results for a pump gas tune on 93. And we're going to move to the E30 tuning next. Wrapped up the E30 tuning and have that overlaid right here on the graph versus the 93 tuning that we had just finished up previously. So again, really good ambient temps in the 63-64 degree range. This one ended up making about 591, 592 wheel horsepower and about 568 wheel torque. For those of you interested about the 8HP trans, we do have the XHP trans flash on there to make the increased torque numbers and to keep everything happy with the tuning. So this is stage 3 tuned with some of our custom settings that we do for the XHP flash part of this, but it does have XHP and it is required when you're doing these numbers with the 8HP transmission cars. With the catted downpipe, we obviously are seeing a little bit less than what we typically see for the peak numbers of about 600 wheel horsepower, but this was also towards the end of the dyno session where everything's nice and hot and have some heat soak in it. So we're going to actually do some backup pulls after a cool down and on the following day just to see if these numbers change a little bit. All right guys, so for all you data junkies out there, we do have some comparison data of the 6MT car versus the Autotrans car, just so you can see the differences with the tuning and the packages that were on these cars. And we're just going to get right to the results over here. So we do have the black and red lines that were from the Autotrans car that we were just talking about. The blue line is the overlay with the 6MT car that we had wrapped up just last week. As you guys recall, this one made about 550 wheel horsepower and we had bumped up the torque to about 560 to 563 or so. We did obviously spend quite a bit more time on the 6MT car just to optimize the 93 tuning, since that was the only tuning that he wanted for the vehicle. And this is not flex tune, this is a dedicated 93 map. So obviously we're going to optimize everything for 93 octane, which will end up giving a little bit more power just because it is a optimized tune specifically for 93, which is what we ended up doing for the Autotrans car. But still, overall, really fantastic numbers, even on the Autotrans car with the torque and the horsepower. You can see that the top end is a little bit higher on the 6MT car in blue versus the Autotrans car in red. I think we can attribute that difference to a combination of the 6MT car running a full upgraded exhaust system plus the active catted downpipe versus the MST catted downpipe and the factory exhaust on the Autotrans car. But overall, still, you know, really impressive results for 93 octane. If anyone is interested in doing a 93 tune car only, this is an outstanding package to have on the car. You don't necessarily have to have a full exhaust system, but if you do, I think you'll see that it will pick up a little bit more top end power versus a car that does not have that, and the type of catalyst that you end up running on the car when running high cats. I think there's some differences in quality versus some of the other. We didn't do a whole lot of testing on the MST one. We haven't used a lot of these to have a whole lot of comparative data, but the active cats have definitely done their part and made the most power that we've seen. But overall, still made outstanding power with the MST cat, and really happy with the results that we've seen on the flex tuning for the Autotrans car. And again, one thing to note, the temperatures were roughly around the same. You know, the manual trans car was slightly cooler, 62 degree ambience versus the 69 degree ambience for the flex tuning that we did on the Autotrans car. But again, really good comparative data, similar ambient temps for the dynoing, and overall the major difference being a flex tune versus non-flex tuned tune on the vehicle. and some minor changes in overall bolt-ons, but very similar builds, and highlighting 6MT versus 8HP. Thank you guys for tuning in again and watching another build go down here at the shop at CES Motorsport. Hope you guys have been enjoying our content. We actually are getting ready to do a few more of these, so you'll be seeing a couple other builds coming in here shortly, and we'll have some additional videos and content on what we're going to do next. Pretty exciting stuff, including some of our own in-house stuff that we're going to be doing, so please stay tuned for all that. But once again, everything that we do here at the shop is on our site. Please check it out, or give us a call, or shoot us an email. We can put a custom build quote together for you and take care of whatever it is you want to do. One of the things that we always point out is that we're doing a lot of pure turbo upgrades on these vehicles, and everybody's like, well, why use pure? One of the main reasons is that we have an outstanding relationship with the guys. Their customer service is literally #1. We've never really had any issues. If there's ever an issue, they're immediately on it and they take care of everything. #2, their quality is probably the best in the game as far as a hybrid turbo goes. So if anybody is interested in doing hybrid turbo upgrades, this is why we recommend the pures over any of the other turbos out there, and also because they just work. I mean, we've been doing these for over 5 years now, guys, and I think I've maybe seen one failure out of every single Supra that has ever come out of the shop. It's a combination of proper tuning, proper install, proper build, and not pushing these turbos way beyond what they're designed to do. So if you have the right combination, it just goes to show you what can be accomplished. This is one of the best bang for buck mods that you can possibly do on this platform. It is an easy bolt-in replacement to the factory turbo. I think a Pure 800 is going to net you about 2,500 bucks once it's all said and done, as far as the cost of the actual upgrade versus a lot of the options that are out there, including our own. I mean, we have our own single kits that we're going to be offering that are going to be way above that price point, but offer, you know, a few different advantages and design elements than what this will offer. But for somebody who wants to get into the 600-700 plus wheel horsepower range, you know, this is a fantastic upgrade. This is why so many people do that, why so many people come here, because we have a package that works. We can give you a turnkey build, bring the car in. We can even do the femto unlocks for you, do the full complete install, tuning, out the door package for you to ready to enjoy the car. And that in itself is very valuable to a lot of our customer base. So if that's one of you guys, give us a shout. We'll take care of you. And thank you again. We'll see you at the next one.